Okay.
Alright, so problem that I had to deal with.
Yeah, and make sure, you're not in the frame. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Okay.
so Rachel, you were telling me about a problem that you've had. This wouldn't be a conversation if I didn't have my Play-Doh. Problem that you've had in the past.
Wow, this feels normal.
Good.
So I guess like the major problem that I had to deal with was probably when I was a junior in high school. I found out that my father was cheating on my mother.
Oh, wow.
And so that was really difficult just because I found out, and so I saw a woman and I was pissed. Except for my dad didn't know that at the time, and so I kind of was like thinking to myself, like, what do I do with this? And so I didn't know if I should like tell my mother. I didn't know if I should tell my siblings.
Okay.
I didn't know if I should confront my father first. And so I kind of just like waited for 2 weeks because I had no idea what to do, and I knew that this was like pretty life changing. Like,
Yeah.
growing up in like a Christian family, like that's kind of unheard of. Like, we go to church on Sundays. There's no swearing. There was like minimal alcohol use. Like that was just like super big news. So I didn't tell anyone, and so.
And why didn't you tell anyone? Was it because of it? Like it felt like more of a secret.
I just felt because I didn't know what to do, and I knew that whatever I did, I couldn't change that.
Okay.
So if I made the wrong decision, that I had to live with it, and so I didn't know what decision to make.
Okay.
So I just kind of froze. And I also too is that was a time that I had other things that I was dealing with, and so that was kind of put on the back burner for a couple weeks.
Okay.
Because there was another situation. But
right. A lot going on in your life.
Yeah. So anyways, it all happens all at once. So anyways, my mom was like out of town or something, and so it was just like me and my dad, and he was just like reading like the newspaper or whatever, and so I was like, Dad, and like I said at the retreat, like my dad is autistic, so sometimes he doesn't like understand that I'm talking to him.
Yeah.
So after like 5 times of saying Dad, 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 he was like, what? And so I was like, I know what you were doing like X weekend. And
wow, so you confronted him straight up.
Yeah, I confronted him straight on. Which is, you know that, I do that.
That is your style, yeah.
It's my style. I don't. So anyways, so he was like kind of slouching, like reading the paper, and he sits up, like straight up. Wow. I got his attention full on, and he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, oh really? Because like, you kind of just, sat all the way up. And so he was just like, so at first he lied about it. And then he started saying, he was like, well, yeah, that's true, because I gave him like evidence. I was like, well, this, and this, and I saw this, and this, and he was like, oh, okay, well, if you tell like your mother instead of like his wife, which I didn't like that word phrase, he was like, well, if you tell your mother, then you'll probably never see me again. And so I was like, wow, oh, that's a good point, because my father was saying that I like believe that, and so I was like, shoot, like, wow, even though I don't like him right now, like I don't want that to happen. And so I was just like really sad, and I was like, he said, like this will devastate your mother. Instead of saying that he was gonna stop, he was just like, well, don't like devastate your mother, like that's your fault if you tell your mom. And so I like kind of believed that. So I was like, okay, that's a good point. Like I don't want to like hurt my mom's feelings, and I was like 16 at the time, so it was like still like I had like them think for me, like I wasn't thinking for myself. Right. So I wasn't satisfied with that though, because I knew that wasn't right to like cheat on someone. So I would just like do things for my mom, but then say that my dad did them for her. So I'd like buy her flowers, and I'd be like, oh, these are from Dad. And my dad, he was just like fine with it. And so I would just do really bizarre things, and then.
And why did